Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Out the Box Plays Wildsea. This is our session 0 by Felix Isaacs. I am the Game Master Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty, CDG. Tonight, I'm excited to be playing Wildsea, and I'm excited to be playing with this group of new people, one of which is not here, Misha. She's on vacation, and we were looking forward to playing, but she's stuck on the road tonight. So we'll be building characters, and I know for sure, since the first time I ever read this book, that I wanted to play a Celicry. And other than that, I'm excited to read along and figure out what we're doing for this session 0.
On you, Malcolm.
On me? Okay. Hi, my name is Malcolm, and I am a full-time role-playing game designer.
Whoa.
With my biggest clients have been like White Wolf, Onyx Path, and more recently and primarily Green Ronin. And one of the people I work with actually pointed out Wildsea to me, so it was quite nifty to get a message saying, "Hey, you want to join this game?" And it's like, wow, yeah, excellent timing. And I've skimmed it, and I've made my character, and I've decided to play Butler, a piratical butler.
Excellent.
And hello, folks. My name is Matt Murphy. I am a scenic and lighting designer as well as a technical director, but lately, mostly, I just teach kids how to build stuff. And I don't know what my character is going to be yet. I've picked some stuff somewhat randomly, but you know, lately when I try to pick a character for one of these ttrpg games, I think to myself, I ask a really important question: what's the closest to a grapple hand that I can get? And it hasn't failed me yet, so I'm sticking to the plan.
It's fair.
It's honestly not a bad plan.
You've gotten as close as you can get because you had one once.
Yes.
Almost every time, I think.
Mm.
Anyway, hey guys, it's good to be back. My name is Kevin Romero. I am also a lighting designer and technical director in the theater industry in Houston, as well as recently a teacher as well of the children variety. Good to be back on Fresh Out the Box. Thank you, Jahan and Gary, for inviting us back. It's good to be here. I'm excited to check out Wildsea. It's got some of the most interesting kind of possibilities that I've ever seen. I love the verbiage and the way they describe it and the kind of directions that they're kind of encouraging us to take it in. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. And like I said, just happy to be here. Bye, Matt.
Bye, Matt. Matt was not happy to be here. But yeah, so that got me. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks to everyone for coming by. We're excited to start this. You guys can see the crew, see what they make, and that kind of stuff. This game, I don't think it's available anywhere quite yet, but you can get the playtest on the website. Just check out Wildsea ttrpg in Google, and you can find it.
Can you pre-order it on BackerKit?
You might be able to do it on BackerKit. I would have to double check. I don't want to give people the wrong info, but since it hasn't closed, I don't think the project manager is closed yet, so I think you probably still could. And since I'm a backer, I can check how to do that for you in a bit. But yeah, we're going to start off pretty easy. Core concepts, guys. This is the basics of your character. The core concepts are like what is going on in Wildsea. It kind of gives you an idea of the setting. So for anyone who doesn't know, if you didn't watch our Wildsea campaign with Felix Isaac, or a game with Felix Isaacs, this is for you. So the treetops are the sea. Though made up of branches and leaves rather than water, the treetops still act as a traditional sea in many ways. There are waves formed by unnatural contours of canopies. There are ports built onto what little solid ground remains, and vast numbers of ships sailing across the boughs of these trees. Land is scarce and valuable. Mountaintops and large chunks of earth or debris caught up in the canopies act as islands and archipelagos. It's a very high fantasy setting. Plant growth, obviously, is very rampant. It's become an issue, believe it or not, in a world covered end to end by trees. Open flames, you got to watch that. It's frowned upon to light the entire forest on fire because the forest is the whole world. There are corrupting agents that you don't want to come into contact with, toxic and potent things. Be aware. Everyone's back to bartering, and the world is very, very weird at this point. But those are the basics of this game. Yeah, and you guys are going to be sailing across the top of this madness, so I hope you're ready for that. We can skip past important terminology. Unless you really want to, but we can get into that later. So there are the four most bountiful races are the Ardent, who are the descendants of humans. This is like a this is a post-human history kind of thing. The Ardent are the what remains of us. There are the Ectus, who are cactus people. It's exactly what it sounds like. No tricks. They are people that are cactuses. There are the Gao, who are grown rather than born. They are mushroom people. And then there are the Zealocry, that are sentient colonies, typically of spiders, sometimes other insects. But they are in the form of a person, usually. Roughly a person. But there are more than just those races. A lot of these were added since the original playtest. Very exciting. There's the Ironbound. They are more or less Warforged from Dungeons and Dragons, kind of. They are constructs and golems that are sentient. There are the Kentra, who are descendants of humanity long ago, but with a twist. And we can get into that later. And then there's the Mothrin, who's another insect species. They are moths. They are part moth.
You just straight up said we can get into that later. You didn't want to tell people that the Ketra are jellyfish people?
Right. Yeah. They're like deep sea. They're kind of like mer people, except, on top of trees. So,
they're like bioelectric gooey folk.
They kind of look like they're descendant from Cthulhu, which is pretty dope. But that's a thing. Hey. That's an option that you can pick. None of those races.
Cthulhu. Did I tell you that Green Ronin's releasing a whole Cthulhu thing?
Oh wow, yeah, I heard about that quite recently, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be on Kickstarter next month.
Yeah, look for that.
Oh yes. Oh hi.
Hey, Malcolm might have helped.
Yes, I am part of the team. I did the developing duty to make that game. So yeah, if you've ever seen folks fool around with Modern Age on this very channel, it uses a very similar system that's been kind of customized more for Mythos stuff, with some options if you want to be a little less merciless. I think one of the things I like about kind of what got hashed out in the process was having a nice vivid setting that's like 100 years long. And some of the weird, not quite magic stuff, right? Like, dehydrating yourself so you can go through space more easily and stuff like that.
Oh, gross.
I love
anyway, enough about that.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about that, the Kickstarter will be going live soon, and I can guarantee that we're going to touch it in some shape or form on this channel. If you're not already following, follow. But yeah, so Wild Sailors, that's what y'all are going to be. Which you could be Cthulhu Wild Sailors, which is pretty exciting. The crews and goals, their goals are typically to explore, to salvage, to hunt, to trade, to adventure, and to escape. This is a very fun, active setting. It's pretty rules light, so the system itself is not too complicated, and also the story is going to take shape based on everything you do, everything you're saying, and you're going to be asked to make choices that are going to affect the world around you often. What did we do, Gary? Felix asked us what kind of celebrations going on in the town we're going to, and it turned into a butterfly festival. There was a migration of butterflies, and hey, that was our call, and it changed the entire setting. It was pretty cool. But yeah, traveling. This is the most exciting part. Everyone gets very excited for ships. Travel. You guys are going to sail across the tops of these trees in special ships that propel themselves a number of ways. One of which is saw blades that rip across the top of them. We had a ship that used acid propulsion. That was pretty fun. You can also grapple hook.
It also had like a sluggy pole on the bottom, so it would shoot juice out and then grab the treetops and pull itself.
Yeah.
It
We had
this
a
really
slug ship.
gross way of moving across the treetops.
So those are just some of the options. There are also ones that look like snakes, that work like snakes, all kinds of stuff. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty here. We're going to skip through some of this, this is the world kind of thing. So the character sheet, you guys have them in the Roll20, which I was surprised. They do have Roll20 functionality for this game. Anyone that's watching, it is here. It's cool. So you're going to have, you have backgrounds, edges, skills, languages, drives and mires, which can be pretty important, aspects and resources, benefits, injuries, track, and milestones. And also a nice little note section for you. Yeah. It's not bad. And there's also, I believe, a ship sheet somewhere that we can access, which is pretty cool.
One thing I like about this character sheet, too, is that it's updated with the newer bloodlines.
Yeah, it is updated. Whoever did the work on this has been keeping up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not just from the first version, so that's cool.
That is very cool. So they have something called tracks in this game, right? A tract is a named string of boxes or circles that are filled or marked to measure progress towards an event, accomplishment, or danger. They're also used as skills. So you can have a cloak that has boxes, and you can check these boxes to do, like I said, a cloak. If you're checking one of those boxes, maybe so you don't get caught on fire or you block some acid, but it damages your cloak at the same time. So if you see those boxes, don't overthink it. They're just little markers for quality. I need to get to the character creation though. I think we're ready for the character creation.
Yeah, the character creation is actually pretty fast in this. Pretty easy, simple to understand. One of my favorite things about this system. And like Matt and Kevin were saying earlier, there's a lot of narrative stuff in it, which is really awesome.
Yeah, this game's a very big time narrative system, which is fun.
Yeah, I love the descriptions in the early part of the rule book where they say that it's supposed to be peak weirdness, and you can kind of create it and customize it as much as you want. I love the freedoms they give to the players on this.
A lot of the different bloodlines at the bottom says alternate presentations, and it gives you some ideas to hey, you want to be this thing but not quite this thing. And so for the Zellicry, who are spider folk, sentient colonies of bugs and spiders, it says try something even more bizarre, maybe squirrels or miniature machines. and the idea of just a mass of squirrels walking around, that's a good character as well.
It's both more adorable and more terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna dive into it. So page 53, for if you got your book, is where the character backgrounds begin. All characters in the Wildsea are a combination of three main elements: bloodline, an origin, and a post. A bloodline sets your character's species, letting the rest of the table know what you are in the most basic sense. An origin determines how your character lived in their earlier life, letting the rest of the table get a handle for the kind of culture that you're most used to. And then post describes your niche. The character fills in the crew, the particular set of skills that make them valuable as a wild sailor. And that combination is your character's background. So I'm not sure if you have an idea of what you wanted, but we can get into it.
Actually, in the playtest, I had played a hacker, and I will probably end up playing a hacker again, which is the Post, and it's not a computer hacker. It is
not a
like
computer hacker. Yeah.
it's the guy who gets off and goes through the vines and goes through the trees with giant machetes and gets covered in acid trying to carve a way for the ship. And that's like a fun thing for a spider monster guy to be doing.
It's kind of horrifying, the more I think about it. But yeah, after that, the thing that you're going to need to know are edges. Edges represent the way your character is most used to solve problems and tackle challenges. The approaches they are usually most effective with. When you're attempting something using an edge, you're in your element. When rolling, you can add a d6 to your dice pool. So these are things, if you have one of these edges, you get an extra d6 when you're rolling, which can be huge. They are as follows: Grace, Iron, Instinct, Sharps, Teeth, Tides, and Veils. So those are going to be, you're going to take those multiple times throughout character creation. They're not just in one spot. I think you get them from several sources. Oh shit, 50 points to Ravenclaw. Excellent. They're going to win the House Cup for sure. Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
Vampire Bites 1.
Yeah, look at that. But yeah, so Grace, an edge of elegance, precision, and agility. Iron, an edge of force, determination, and willpower. Instinct, edges of senses, intuition, and reaction. Sharps is an edge of logic, wit, and planning. Teeth is an edge of savagery, passion, and destruction. Tides, an edge of exploration, learning, and lore. And Veils, an edge of shadows, ciphers, and secrecy. So those sound vague. They are meant to. If you can justify to me that you opening a door is teeth, yeah, that's fine. Like, you get the dice. It's a very loose system. It's a very easy system. So these rules are meant to kind of just be all encompassing. So
one of the other examples it gave was like if you in your team set up an ambush, then you could use whatever the what is it called, instinct, which is kind of intelligence. You could use instinct for your attack because you had planned it. Any skill works on anything so long as you approach it the way that the skill asks you to.
Yeah, pretty much. As long as you're coming at it from that angle, you can use that edge. Those are kind of the stats. So
that's right. They're kind of your core mechanics.
Yeah, we're not going to roll up any strength or con or whiz today. So don't worry about that. And then you're going to also have skills, which I'm sure you're used to skills in games. And they're exactly what you think they are. And there are actually a pretty good amount of them. I'll run through them. I'm not going to get too far into them. If you have questions about them later, we can get into it. But there is Brace, Break, Cook, Delve, Flourish, Hack, Hunt, Outwit, Rattle, Scavenge, Sense, Study, Sway, Tend, Vault, and Wave Walk. They're all pretty much what they sound like. Some of them are kind of, maybe they're not quite what they sound like. Like Rattle is essentially the repair skill, which
it doesn't have anything to do with a baby toy.
Yeah, entertain children. I have the Rattle skill
until somebody came to help you.
And then there's also languages. You guys know what languages are, right? Cool.
No.
During your character creation, when you're picking your languages, you might actually want to know what some of them are, and we can talk about that. We can talk about them when it comes up. And then you're going to go to your aspects. Aspects are things that you're going to get. They're very broad. They can be equipment. They can be like companions. Like you could have a pet. They all fall under the same thing. Actually, it says traits, gear, and companions. Boom. And those are another thing. So all of these things are just things you're going to get during character creation from several sources. I just kind of wanted to prepare you for that. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah. Today's for questions.
What does it mean when it says like 5-track trait?
So a 5-track
Ever.
trait, right, is going to so you're looking at the aspect examples. That means
Right.
it's going to have that many boxes, right? What's the example here? Towering. You have a 5-track trait of towering. You stand head and shoulders above most others. When you're using that, say you use it to like pick something up off a shelf, odds are that's not going to use a point of your thing. But if you're using it to like intimidate somebody, or if like you fail at taking something off the shelf and hurt your back, you might tick off a box on that. And if you don't have any boxes open, you can't use it, essentially. There are ways to recoup those things. They can also be things like swords, you know? Say you fuck up an attack with a sword. You put a dent in your sword, and now it has one less durability, essentially. But that's how it is. And some of them actually require you to spend the tracks to use. Some of them are like, check a box to do this thing. But those are usually very powerful. I had an amulet when I played that allowed me to like move a giant hunk of metal with like magnet powers. But I had to check a box off. So it's stuff like that. There are spellcasters in there. I found one and I went with it. I will always find the magic caster, much how you will always find the grapple hand.
So when you're looking at that stuff too, Matt, those multi-tracks, it's almost, and not directly, but it's almost a clue where if it has a larger track, it's something that's not quite as strong. So if you see something that's a 2-track, then it's going to be strong as hell. Something that's a 5-track is going to be something you use throughout the session over and over.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's something you have at your disposal at all times. So Myers are bad things. They're kind of flaws that you have potentially, or things that can get you into trouble. And then drives are the opposite. They're things that fuel you, things that you want to do, and those things can push you towards roleplay opportunities. There are rules for those, which we'll get into when it's more relevant. But they can like if you get a bunch of Myers, you can start getting like sad and stuff. You can start having problems. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to roleplay sad if you don't want to.
I didn't come here for that level of realism.
The jellyfish man with electric powers doesn't feel sad, Jahan.
That's fair. That's fair.
Every day he wakes up is a gift.
And it's like, shit, I have depression here too. Damn. That's rough. But yeah. So, and then there's also some other personal tracks that you can get during play, like you hurt your back, and you have to heal so many tracks on that to no longer be penalized. Stuff like that.
Realism.
Yeah. That is the realism. Yeah, that's absolutely.
I am raring to play a miserable bastard with a bad back.
I have depression and my back hurts. What a ttrpg.
You're giving me ideas, man. You think anybody has
follow
the
me into that
grumpy-year-old
fantasy
midlife?
world?
Yeah, let's all co-op
and intrusive thoughts.
The final boss, the insurance agent finding out whether you're full of shit or not.
Oh no! They did a follow-up, guys. Roll initiative.
I saw you play basketball in your prime.
So we're not going to do the quick start characters. Because I imagine you guys want more control than that. Freeform characters, you're going to pick your background. Oh no, quick start characters are actually the ones that you pick, like Bloodline and stuff. Okay, that's fine. So, yes. Now we're to the Bloodline. This is where you're actually going to pick stuff. Okay, guys? We're there. We did it.
Deal. We made it.
We trained for this moment, guys. All right?
So now that we've made it to the bloodlines, just to run them back, they are Ardent, which are human descendants. They are Ectus, who are cactus folk. You've got the Gao, who are fungal humanoids that are, mushroomy folk. The Ironbound, of course, they are ship spirits with driftwood bodies. Ketra, which are the less fortunate of the human descendants. Those are the ooey gooey bioelectric tech savvy ones. The Mothrin, which are moth folk, and then of course the Celicry, the spider colony folk, which your boy is staring at.
Yeah, absolutely. So of those races, of those bloodlines, what interests the two of you, Kevin and Matt? Because Malcolm, what did you choose?
Well, I'll tell you as soon as I find the right browser tab. I did make my character, and my character's name is James Zazel Smythe. I'm ardent.
Okay.
So yes, human descendant who is a butler and also dead.
Oh no!
But that's a different part of character creation. So I'm
Yeah,
not gonna...
that was a short-lived character, Malcolm. Thanks for joining us.
I'll see you around, folks.
We live, we die, we live again.
Build a dead character. Thanks. See you later.
Oh boy, so many jokes I want to make right now, but I'm not going.
But
They dip too dark.
as will be later revealed, being dead is no impediment to making a character with this game.
That's fair. That's fair. So we have an Ardent, and it sounds like, Gary, we have a Zealocry, am I correct? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're correct.
Don't let that dissuade you from being either Ardent or Zealocry. There are still other ways to differentiate yourself. You could all be Zealocry and be completely different. So
I'm going to be a Ketra.
awesome. Okay, that's a Ketra.
I've got my eye on being a Mothrin. I wanted to maybe discuss the lifespan, but I think I got something figured out for that. So I'm looking at being a Mothrin.
That's a good question, buddy.
Probably with a Minnesotan accent that buzzes the Z's, but
I already like where your head's at.
Don't you know?
Go.
Let me read. Let's see if there's a weird lifespan thing.
You could also, for the Mothrins, they say they could be butterfly or dragonfly inspired humanoids.
right, which is super hot as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just gonna be a dragonfly because it's like a butterfly with stupid wings. So it's like with scissor doors on it, you know.
Hell yeah.
All right. It doesn't say anything weird about their lifespan. I don't think that they limit people that way. You know, it's not like
Oh,
D&D.
it's just character description. They only live to 20.
What
Yeah.
was that?
They only live to 20.
Oh,
in
do
the
they really?
character. Yeah. It says under reputation under the bloodline.
Oh no. Oh, okay. It does say that.
Oh, imagine having a so short a life that you only just grab whatever music helps you belong and you don't expand your taste later when you...
So that means you're probably very young. I wonder when your adulthood is. But yeah, you're probably like 5 or something.
Yeah, I'm 9 and I'm an elder in my fucking community.
There you go.
Yeah, but don't worry. Then eventually you get all gooey and break down and you turn into a younger version of yourself with half of your memories.
Yeah, it's like not me anymore. It's disgusting. You guys should put me down if that happens.
But it still keeps your name, apparently.
Which is
love
worse
that.
to a certain extent.
I love those kind of conceptual variations on immortality that actually make your character feel more immortal.
Mm.
I was doing that. Oh, I forget. I think I did that with elves in one thing that I was working on, where like they just have a window of their earliest memories, right? And it just moves forward, right? So maybe they have twice as many memories as a human, right? But eventually they're just going to forget about all that stuff and as if it happened to someone else. There's a great game, Houses of the Blooded, where you just kind of you're theoretically immortal, but you become more of a statue as you get older.
Oh, jeez.
And it's seasonal play, and you roll to see how if you're getting any slower, until eventually you become like this idol that's worshipped by the rest of your clan. of evil elf Meldabonian aristocrat people, which is what the game's about.
That's fucking dope. But you're not going to turn into a statue, Kevin. I don't think.
It remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. We never know. Yeah, the rolls could tell a different story. So, page 83, Matt, that's going to be you. That's where your aspects and stuff are. It's great. So there's the quick start little area there. It's going to tell you to choose from this list here. And you just kind of pick stuff. As many as it says. And that's just for, like, your bloodline. That's it. It's only for your bloodline.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do resources do?
So resources can do... I mean, they're the items of the game, kind of. They're like raw materials or... now's the time. Now's the time to talk about charts and whispers. So charts and whispers is an interesting thing specifically. The other stuff like salvage, say you have like a chunk of metal as a part of salvage, and you need to fix something that might be made of metal. You throw that out of your inventory and you fix it with that metal. It's pretty easy that way, and it's pretty free form. Nothing set. If you have some weird plant, maybe you can use it to heal somebody's wound, or make a poison. You know, so it's kind of free like that. But specifically whispers and charts. So whispers are coupled with charts. You can take any whisper that you have, and you can get them during play too. And any chart you have, you put them together, and boom, you guys have a quest. Just like that, right? So in this instance, if you took a whisper and a chart from your list, the Comforting Dark is the whisper, and then a Faded Schematic is the chart. So you have this Faded Schematic, and you have these whispers of the Comforting Dark. Which means that you guys are probably going to descend beneath the bows to find a lost ship, possibly an experimental one, or device of some kind. And that's your quest. Boom, you did it. You can combine whispers with other people's charts. I had a cool map made out of bronze last game. You can have all kinds of cool stuff like that. And also, you guys can kind of have input in that way what quests you're doing. If you want to fight a big monster, maybe combine the big monster whisper with some sort of tracking thing, and boom, you guys can go fight a Leviathan. Did I say Leviathan? I did. And they exist. They're scary. But yeah, so that's how that
under
works.
the trees, deep under the trees, the closer you get to the ground, the more dangerous it gets, and that's where some of the giant Leviathans lurk and wait to eat anything that dares venture.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think actually one of the posts you can take is Leviathan Hunter or something like that. It might just be Hunter. But yeah. But yeah, so you're going to do that. You're going to take one of the edges shown. You're going to take 5 of the skills and languages shown. 2 of the resources, 1 of the drives, and 1 of the mires. But that's not all you're going to get. You're going to get all of those things again from another list when you take your... what's the one after Bloodline, Gary?
Your aspect?
No. Origin.
Origin, that's right.
And so there's an identical list on your origin. If you want something that you don't see, like if you don't have access to a skill you really want, it's not a big deal. You're allowed to do that. These are just supposed to help guide you, kind of thing. And I do also believe you're going to pick aspects as well. Yes, okay, so there's also the aspects next to your thing. You can see them. Yours, Matt, gelatinous form, 5 treks. You can take that if you want. You're going to choose 2 of the aspects from the list below. So you're going to choose 2 aspects related to your bloodline. And they can be fucking nuts. Just FYI, they can be crazy. Spend as much time as you want looking at those. Kevin, I do believe you require some assistance here.
Indeed. I'm a little bit confused, to be honest with you, just looking at like the difference between the quick start kit and the aspects.
Yeah.
Like they're on the same page. Like how do you know really which ones are what? Like
You get both.
are the resources on that list? Oh, so you just get all of these aspects?
So no,
So-
the aspects you're going to choose 2 from the ones you see.
Oh, it says that. My bad.
No, it's all good. I know
Which
that
is
you're.
actually-
I know you're looking at like a real small screen, so I understand.
Yeah, it was confused me too, mostly because I expected the process to be different, but it's exactly the same as getting the stuff for your origin.
And
Yes.
it's an easy question to ask too because they cram so much on one page.
They do.
But I think they do it in a pretty good way. But like you said, it's really easy to look over where it says choose
It
2
is.
aspects in very fine bold print in the top left.
Yeah,
But the rest of that, there's a lot going on that
Mm.
page as far as information.
last time, so we went over this game when it was on Kickstarter, and then we had to make characters for an actual play recently. And when I had to make a character again, I was very lost because I skipped a bunch of stuff, I missed a couple things, and I was just turned around. But yeah, it's easy to overlook. So yeah, you're gonna get 2 aspects, Kevin, from
That's
the
bummer because there's a
aspects.
ton of shit there.
There is. There is. You're gonna get more aspects from other sources though.
Yeah, so you get 2 from your bloodline, and then you get 2 from your origin,
And then you
Right.
get 2 from your post. Yeah.
and 2 from your post. So you're gonna get a lot, but yeah, it's hard to make those choices because those bloodline
It's
ones
supposed
are
to be.
really cool.
Yeah.
And
no,
they
they're-
change, so you're trying to like look at the combinations through the different eras, and it's like there's a ton of possibilities, which I really love about this game. Like there's a lot of customization available. So
And it's just picking 2 and 2 and 2 off master lists. That's all it is. But that the variety and the limitation let you do so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. So can you see this, Kevin?
yeah, actually,
figured it
Matt was able to hook me up with a rule book.
Matt coming through.
Coming
Hell
through.
yeah.
Come
But yeah,
on through.
so you're gonna pick those 2 aspects. You're gonna go through the quick start kit, and you're gonna go pick an edge, 5 skills and languages, a combination of 5, and then you get 2 resources, not from each. You have to choose 2 from any combination of salvage, specimen, whisper, and chart, and then you're gonna choose a drive and a mire, and then. After that part, you go off to origins. So here's the origins. The origins, I believe, are anchored. Those lost to the waves but unable to rest. Their true origin. Here, let me move it over here. Their true origins superseded by spiritual energies. Anchored are spectral souls given solid form.
Damn right.
So on top of everything else you could be a jellyfish monster that's also a ghost. FYI, that's one of the origins offered here. Ridgebacks.
Nice.
Oh, what's that, Malcolm?
Well, I went with that aspect. That's why I'm a dead butler.
Oh, right.
And
You're the
And
anchored.
for one of my aspects, I am towing the ghost of my last master around.
Is that do you have the faithful spirit?
I do. I have a faithful spirit.
That's great. And the spirit
That's
is your
crazy.
old master?
Yeah, because the backstory I'm going with is that my character was sort of like this. When this tide of plant life was covering the planet, they lived in some kind of like mountaintop chateau, and eventually the extended family there got weird, but their servants are always there. And then finally the last of the family died, and my character was the last of the servants. And then he went, well, I'm in this castle full of dead people that's falling apart. I'd better go get a life. And I go out, and I'm immediately killed by pirates. And then at that point, that is when my my master goes, "Fuck up, chap. We got stuff to do. Doesn't matter if you're dead. I still want breakfast. Doesn't matter if I
Yes.
succeeded. It's the gesture that counts." Yes.
Perfect.
So that's where I am with that. That's how I use the aspect.
It's absolutely, yeah, that's a great example of an aspect and a great example of an anchored. That's pretty fun. So yes,
And so, yeah, Malcolm
go ahead.
just turned a 4-track companion into a paragraph of lore. Just to further point out that I love the way that this game works. The creativity, the freedom there is amazing. It's awesome. Malcolm was able to turn. It says faithful spirit, loyal to the grave and beyond, marked to ignore effects of an active mire for the rest of the scene. And Malcolm's able to use that to empower his entire story. Great work.
Yeah, good job.
Well, because there's sort of a strong thesis for this game, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to fill in the details because you know, there are rules, right? World's covered with foliage. You don't know what it was like before. And having a few simple rules and kind of leaving you to go with it is, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, this game does a lot of good. It does its best job where it turns lore into the game mechanics and the character creation. It's all built-in lore. It's very fun. But yeah, so that's a great example of an anchored. They are souls given solid form, so you're a solid ghost, which is cool. But I imagine there's probably an aspect where you can walk through walls and stuff. Ridgebacks are the next origin. Raised on mountaintop islands, battered and hardened by the elements, Ridgebacks are larger and much tougher than the average wild sea denizen. So those people that grew up on mountains, that jut out from the wild sea itself. After that, there's the rootless. Those born to the seafaring life on a ship cutting through the rustling waves, the rootless learn how to handle the dangers of the sea from a young age. So those are the nomadic travelers of the seas, the ones that live on the ships itself. Like, they don't actually have like a home. Then there's something called a what?
Oh, Matt.
No, Matt.
Matt, the Shankling.
Yeah, I was about to say Shankling.
Oh, Matt, the Shankling has a grappling hook.
Oh, no.
Oh, Matt.
Yep. I've seen it.
That's pretty cool.
It also has a glider's cloak, Matt, so you can jump and fly around.
You can be Batman.
Yep.
And actually, have y'all seen what it says on the... Oh, what is it? On the Ketra bloodline? It's self-made skeletons?
Mm-mm. No.
Ketra wild sailors have also been known to replace their bones with functional tools, like grappling hooks or concealed.
Okay.
It does say that. Oh boy, Matt, you did it. You found it.
So just to reiterate, Matt, you could have 2 grappling hooks. You could have a grapple and be a Shankling and have a grappling hook.
Literally, one of your aspects for being a fish boy is climbing hooks. That's one of the ones you can pick. Yeah, there you go. You found it. That's
you have
weird.
A grappling face.
That's a weird niche. you have like grapple hook senses. But yeah, so the Shanklings, those are that spent their early lives in cities hanging from the boughs of tall shanks, the wild sea's largest trees. Shanklings usually have devil-may-care attitude and a great head for heights. So they live high up. And it's pretty cool. The pictures, like they like dress like birds and stuff. I don't know. It's cool. And then finally, Spitborn. Raised in the relative safety of an island or ruin caught up in the wild sea's growth, most Spitborn value trade, trust, and hospitality to strangers. So they live in these chunks of rock and old leftover cities and stuff that get pushed up to the surface by the trees. And they do pop up still to this day. Sometimes a chunk of rock will come up, and that's a whole adventure unto itself. And so we already heard from Malcolm. Malcolm is an anchored. Gary.
Yo.
Do you know which of these origins you would like?
Actually, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm looking at Spitborn and Ridgeback.
Those are both very cool.
I want to go between those two because in my mind, my character, I'm probably going to take the multi-armed thing, and I'll probably be getting up in the grease. And both of those have like kind of a tanky health type of build. One of them has barrel chested as a 5-track trait, and the other one has pit survivor as a 5-track trait, which, you know, they're the same thing. It's just thematically what do I want to choose.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll go with Spitborn, and Spitborn is somebody who grew up on a piece of land, and throughout the years that land was raised above the treetops. So that's that'll be what I do.
Matt and Kevin, what are you guys thinking? Any idea?
I'm thinking the Shankling's the way to go.
Okay,
Gotta have that grapple hand.
there you go. You gotta have that double grapple hand. So we got a Shankling, we have an Anchored, we have a Spitborn. Kevin, you can pick any of the ones that were already picked if you want to. Feel it's no issue. You're a moth person. You're different enough. You can totally double down on one of those. Or
that's the whole thing is we only get to pick 2 aspects. So even if he picks what we pick, we may
probably won't have the same things anyway.
The same thing and pick 4 different builds.
Yeah, honestly, weirdly enough, I'm looking at the same things that Gary was looking at, the Ridgeback and the Spitborn. I'm kind of envisioning this character to be, as I said earlier, potentially with a Minnesotan accent and buzzing the Z's and S's when they speak, sort of like a bug would. But so I want them to sort of come off as non-threatening, but because they are sort of an assassin. Some Mothrin can fly for extended periods of times, so I want that to be a trait that I have, is to be able to fly, and sort of like jump ship and like take somebody out and come on back and be like, oh dear, the time's passed. You know what I mean? Like just kind of get behind sort of the character and hiding within that personality of non-threateningness. So I feel
I'm
like
so ready for another Kevin voice. I'm so ready.
I was tempted to try to bring Crooked Charlie back, but he needs to rest a little bit and sleep it off. I mean,
he's a little hungover.
Yeah, a little my ass. So, you know, there's aspects of the Spitborn that I absolutely love because, like, growing up in the underworld, he would have learned, or they rather, because it's sort of a sentient being, but non-really binary. It doesn't really conform to human standards of gender and stuff like that. So I'm thinking growing up in an environment like that, the individual would have learned, you know, to be silent or to pick pockets or things of that nature. But I also really like the resilience of the Ridgebacks. Because I sort of, to go with this unassuming character, I sort of want it to be like a tank. Like this silly looking bastard, but then like when this explosion happens, still like the only one standing there, like it's all good. So it's tricky. I'm actually leaning towards the Ridgeback, I think, just because of the aspect combinations that I can do with the Mothrin. Sort of like you never get hit. And then with the Ridgeback aspect, you can add when you do get hit, it doesn't hurt very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that person's just sort of blissfully indestructible. But I'll get back to you on that. I'm gonna look them over a little bit more. It's gonna be either Spitborn or Ridgeback.
You narrowed it down. That's good enough for me. So the final thing in this trio of character creation is your post. Your post is your niche. It's your job. There are way more of these than there are of bloodlines or origins. I doubt you're going to double up. There's a lot of choices here. Alchemist, which I feel you all understand. Alchemist. Char, a culinary mastermind who uses meats and spices to imbue their dishes with lasting positive effects. And so you could use that to be your ship's cook and give people special meals that actually make them perform better. Corsairs, dexterous masters of close quarters combat, ready to take on anything that threatens their ship. There's the Dredger, scavengers who trawl wrecks and ruins for loot and treasure. Most dredgers can gain entry to closed off areas and pick out valuable trinkets at a glance. Hackers, that's what Gary was. Is that what you're going to be again, Gary?
I don't know. I'm actually looking at the Dredger right now, looking at some of those aspects to see if I'm interested.
Yeah, the hacker.
Yeah. The Dredger is interesting because it's one of the only ones that I've seen so far that has a one-track trait aspect, where it's like pretty epic, so you can only use it a single time. I think that's interesting.
Master
Hey, thanks for the
Salvage.
follow, AJ Longums.
Yeah, thanks.
I enjoyed that name. It's a good name. But yeah, no, the Dredger's very interesting. I like the Dredger a lot. And then there's the hacker. Gary said earlier, they chop through when you guys get stuck in like underbrush or thick vines or whatever. They are the ones that cut your ship free with machetes and acid bombs and the like. Horizoner. Horizoneer. It's fun to say. Blending the disciplines of explorer and scholar, Horizoneers are silver-tongued travelers able to charm hearts and waves alike. Which, that's actually pretty cool. I don't remember that one. Hunter. Patient trackers who bring in food and supplies for their crew. Many hunters specialize in bringing down a particular type of quarry. So hunter is exactly what it sounds like. Navigator. You navigate, you know? Experienced pathfinders in a shifting world. An experienced navigator makes journeys across the rustling waves faster, safer, and far more profitably. Rattle hands, very cool. Wild engineers with a passion for salvage. The average rattle hand is their best when repairing ships and crafting new, unusual gear.
Yeah. I figured out that the Horizoneer is sort of a bard.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah, kind of a bardy.
I was looking at all of their gear
boy.
For their aspects, and they get they could have a tuning fork, and they could have a sturdy instrument. So that's
you gotta stick a pin in the Barty boys. The thing to use in the future.
I'm the Barty boy.
That's gotta be the name of future campaign.
Barty boys.
The Barty boys.
The Barty boys. Hey, we're always talking about making a Barty party. Everyone wants to do it. No GM will allow it, but I'll allow it because I'm a cool GM.
I gotta say, the Navigator's got some really cool shit too. The Scoenesis 2-track trait aspect where they can control rigging and ropes. That's really, like, the Navigator's nothing to sleep on, I feel like.
No.
Like, all of these posts still have sort of an epic twist to them, even if it's just or a chef.
You know how we got in trouble when we played sailing? We got in trouble when we were sailing. Don't sleep on the Navigator. They're good to have for sure. And whatever crew you guys make right now, keep in mind there will be another. One other person will be joining. Misha will be making her character and joining for our first session next week. So that's going to be exciting. So rattle hands are like the repairs. Screws. This is what I was. Master of magnetism. Screws merge themselves with scrap and salvage to increase their control of the world's detritus. Yeah. So you are Magneto. It's a magnet mage. Slingers.
I might be a slinger.
Slingers are cool. The long-range equivalents of Corsairs, slingers engage their enemies from a distance with well-placed bolts and arrows or barrages of gunfire.
Poop slingers.
Steep. A meditative brewer and herbologist with a strong connection to the spiritual world.
Good.
And then there's a surgeon who surgeon stuffs, you know. Is that you, Malcolm?
Yeah, new guy plays the cleric.
the ghost is the cleric. That's exciting. That's exciting. I like that.
Tale.
Just because I'm dead doesn't mean you have to be. No, fantastic. So, boom, you guys do have a surgeon. I wasn't expecting that. That's a cool. That's definitely a helpful thing to have. And then the final thing, Tempest. Those that have tasted the storm and come back changed, destructive dervishes of thunder and lightning. So it sounds like they are lightning mages.
Electricity Kyles.
Halle Berry from the X-Men.
Pretty sick also, I'm not gonna lie.
So those are your choices for that. And so you're gonna, on each of the things that we've talked about, you're going to have about the same amount of choices that you did for Bloodline. So you're going to have 2 more aspects from each. You're going to have another edge, that kind of thing.
So, just out of curiosity, John, as the game master, I'm curious about something.
It's me.
The Tempest has an aspect called Iron Jaw 7-string, where they play an instrument and it causes feelings of fucking revolution in people. So, just for shits and giggles, what if we all were Tempests and we played you such a song that we just shattered your world? Is that doable?
I mean, if you guys want to go around causing revolution with your sick licks, that's up to you, man. I'll run any game you want
and assault you. The revolution will be real.
What's that one called?
The
Iron Jaw 7-string. Yeah. Card from the bones of an Iron Jaw ray produces a harsh buzzing tone when played that seems to awaken the spirit of rebellion in some. Yeah, no, that's pretty metal.
Quite.
But yeah, so those are your options. Think on it. If something doesn't immediately jump out at you, you can ask questions.
Hey, Kevin, I have maybe you don't want to do it. It's just, I saw it and it reminded me. So you had a problem with the moth guys aging? The Steep post, they have a potion of youth. It says your body doesn't look like it, but you're far older than you seem, and you have many tricks to keep it so.
You know, Gary, I appreciate that because I think I fell in love with that immediately. That's pretty awesome, especially because adding to that character sort of description, having somebody that is like, what is that movie, The Orphan or whatever, with that chick that's like 35?
Yeah, it's called Orphan.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Orphan.
Yeah, like that sort of stuff, like nobody's going to suspect the kid, you know what I mean? Especially with the Minnesota accent, probably has a pet of some sort, goofy looking bastard, but straight up murderer bug boy. I mean, I think, yeah, it's certainly something I'm going to consider. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
That's a good point. No, there's lots of that kind of stuff. These things can they can add so much to your character, so don't take them lightly. But yeah, any questions about any of these things in specific? Anything you want to hear more about? Anything the chat wants to hear more about? Ooh, you could be Iron Butterfly. What's that?
Real quick question regarding the character sheet.
Hmm?
Skills don't seem to match up on mine. Is that the same with everyone else's? Or am I just looking in the wrong place?
Are you?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, Matt. There you go. Let's see. Let's go check out skills. So the skills. What's wrong with your skills? Oh yeah, it looks like I see repair instead of rattle.
Right.
Yeah.
Some things like that.
Some of them are off. Yes.
Cool.
It does appear to be the case.
That's okay. Those aren't huge
okay.
issues, right? We can work around it for the most part.
Yeah, we work around it. But you're not wrong. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. It looks like they must have changed some names or something since this was made. Oh, you have grace and teeth. You are an assassin. Look at that. You did it. Yeah, what's that?
Oh, silly me! I found the actual character sheet. I just did my character on a G-Doc, so I'll import what I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think after you guys figure out all that stuff, and obviously you don't have to finish right now. If you need more time, that's fine. Even if you're not done tonight, that's okay. We can eventually get to the ship building.
Oh, damn.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds really exciting, to be honest with you. I'm into that a lot.
Pretty exciting. I love the artwork in this book. I really, really do. I don't have it set up to show people at home right now, but the screws specifically, it's one of the Mothrin, and he's like wearing like a bunch of like junk metal. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, one of his companions that he can summon is like a living golem made out of colorful silks. It just conjures a bizarre image in the brain. I love that.
Gary.
I'm looking at page 97. I'm looking at aspects for my Spitborn. There are two that I think are eerily similar, and I would just like to ask you how you would handle it as a game master, because I don't want to know which one to pick. I'm kind of in between. One is urban exploration. The other one is every street tells a story. So urban exploration is a 3-track. They're both 3 tracks. Urban exploration says, mark to discover a friendly lead on services or information in a port or city. The other one, every street tells a story, says, mark to learn a secret of a port or city you're docked at.
Yeah.
I feel like those have some overlap.
Not necessarily. So urban exploration is going to be like, hey, I need to find a calligrapher. I got to send out these wedding invitations, right? Boom. Click off the urban explorer. But if you want to find the guy that's selling crack, you do
Okay.
You spend a point and somebody hands you a note in the next scene where it just says, ask the Mothrin.
But that's the primary difference. It sounds like what's that one called? The second one, the street thing.
Every street tells a story.
Mark to learn a secret of a port or city you're docked at. So that can also be like, oh man, like the mayor is totally in on what happened at the dock earlier today when that ship was destroyed. It was totally, like you can find out stuff like that. You can find out stuff that you would normally require investigation.
I think that's the one I'm going to go with.
It is a good one. Yeah, it is a good one. Because the other one you can kind of, it's good to know, but it's not necessary. It's not. The other one is more like deep knowledge kind of thing.
All right, thank you.
No problem. It's a good question. Spitborn. Yeah, Spitborn are cool, man. I think I was a rootless. I was an ardent rootless screw.
That is such a bizarre sentence out of context.
Yeah.
Like a homeless, empowered police officer.
I'm really excited to see your final forms here.
I will turn into a Butterfree.
Free! Ash has to say goodbye forever because it's time for you to bone.
Bye forever.
I should hope so.
I cried for that episode. Pretty sure. I don't think I actually cried. But I was like, no, Butterfree. You guys remember?
I remember.
Yeah, I do. I remember.
I remember.
Staying hard to wash out.
I remember. But yeah, so after all that, that's when the shipbuilding is going to start. But before we start on that kind of thing, we are at our halfway point. So everyone knows what that means. People got to pee.
Union break.
People need water. Yeah, it's our union mandated break from the Tabletop RPG Union. So we will see you guys back here soon. Don't go anywhere, or do. I don't run your life. Bye. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fresh Out the Box. I'm still the Game Master, Johananon.
Casualty, CDG, and my mic just didn't queue up. I was watching it not work. It's me, Casualty, CDG. I'm happy to be playing Wildsea with my friends, and I didn't get the memo that we were putting on beanies at the break, but I'll do my best. I've got paper nearby.
It's cold.
I am Malcolm, and we're doing hats. That's great. I actually quite like this hat. So, here we
I'm the
go.
only one who doesn't have a
And
hat.
also, I think it's got a bit of a, you know, fisherman kind of thing going on, you know. Except we don't have fish. We have insects in the wild sea.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We're catching them bugs. Every day is lobster day.
I thought I was going to look really French, but I look like I'm like a special forces guy now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you look like a Resident Evil villain.
Yeah, yeah, a stereotypical Iranian, just down with America. Yeah,
An Iranian browser.
it's me, the stereotypical Iranian bad guy. It's okay. We've been policing a lot of stuff lately, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, welcome back to the stream. We're gonna move on with our character creation here. Have you guys figured out your posts, or you don't have to? I'm just wondering. You came to some sort of
Yes.
realizations. Oh, I see some
Yes.
nodding. Yeah, go ahead. What's your post?
My post is, what was it? Corsair, something like that.
Corsair.
Corsair.
Corsair. There you go.
Awesome. I thought you might, actually. It fits your assassin vibe pretty good. What about you, Kepster?
I think I'm still deciding, unfortunately.
Nah,
there's
take
a really
all the
cool
time
one,
you need.
and I'm having it circle back to me, though. I'll have it.
Absolutely. Hey, Gary, did you settle?
Yes, I took Slinger.
Oh, okay. So we have Corsair and a Slinger. You guys have some combat capabilities. But we also have a Surgeon, so like it's a good mix so far. Mix up the mix. I can only imagine what Misha's going to wind up being.
She, I think, had shown interest in being a hunter.
That's exciting.
Tempest, I thought, no?
It could be either way.
Either way, that's badass.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also interested in being a moth as well, I believe, when I last checked.
That's correct.
But yeah, so no, that's perfectly fine, Kev. Take all the time you need. It's an important decision. But also, so this is the kind of game. Obviously, we're doing the long form of this, but rolling up a character is pretty quick. If you do so die, feel free to throw another person into the mix, and it'll be fun. So now we're on to the part that everybody. This is the part that we talk about to sell this game. Me and Gary personally have sold many copies to people. Not many, like two.
But we didn't get any money for it.
We didn't get any money for it. But hey, we were like, hey, yeah, come to.
I just want to be
shipbuilding.
clear that if the Wildsea guys are out there and they want to give us a code so that we can sell the game, we will.
We'll sell the game for you.
We'll sell the game.
Nothing like a product you believe in. Yeah, I think I actually convinced someone from Green Running to buy this game. I think it was Charlotte. I don't remember. It might have been. But yeah, so We're gonna make some.
I think I
ships.
decided, by the way. Sorry, before we
You
jump
did?
in. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I just can't pass up on the navigator. I think it's so fucking cool. Like
Okay.
the steep would be really useful, and I'm super interested in the alchemist. But I think I'm gonna go with my gut and say that the navigator is the thing to do. I just love the rope manipulation. They have like omens of the future. There's just all these really cool options.
All three of those options are sick. Navigator's a great choice. Navigator is a great choice. But yeah, so now we have our crew. Time to make ship. But yeah, so we're on chapter 6, ships and shipbuilding. Page 127 for those of you following along at home or just right here.
Oh, that's me. Page 127, did you say?
Oh, did you find the pre-order page, Malcolm? Shoot that to me in the Discord, and I can link it in the chat.
Okay.
I
I
have a filter on because we've had some bot issues.
I see.
Sweet.
Yeah.
But yes, so steaks. Not the kind you eat, but potentially the kind you eat if you wanted to. To create your ship, you'll need to spend stakes. It's a special resource exclusively for shipbuilding. So I'm going to give you guys stakes, and you guys are going to use them to personalize the ship. All of you, I think there's a collective pool, and there's also individual stake points that you guys can spend on whatever you want. No one has any say in how you spend your personal points. But you guys will talk about the ones that are collective. You guys will discuss it. So here we go. I'm gonna links in the chat, y'all. You can get this game. You can order it for when it comes out. Pre-order it on BackerKit if you were not lucky enough to be one of the original backers, like me. I think this beret is too tight. I'm starting to get all slow-brained.
It's not normal for you?
It's not normal for me. Yeah, sometimes. It depends on the day of the week. It is a Thursday. So yeah, take to the waves. Here we go, guys. You got 6 to share and 3 per sailor. So you get 6 stakes as standard to create your ship. Those are for all of you. It's a collective pool. And then everybody gets 3 to themselves for every player with a character on the crew. That way, every player at the table has a literal stake in creating the vessel they'll be traveling on. These stakes are spent on making choices about the ship's design, fittings, and any extra NPC crew or members sailing with you, which is something that it is an option. You don't have to have them, but you can. There's also going to be personal touches, color, style, shape, construction, decorations, all that stuff, quirks in history you guys can come up with. That's narrative, the personal touches. But then here's the meat and potatoes of it. Creating your ship. Design. When spending your stakes, your group first needs to cover the basics of the ship's design. Every ship needs to have at least one option chosen from the following sections: size, frame, hull, bite, and engine. And so a little bit more on those. Size, obvious. Size is how big your ship is. Frame is your basic ship's profile and appearance. Hull is the main material used in your ship's construction. It can be wood, metal, insect husks, dried pus. I don't know. There's a lot of options. That was really gross. I don't know why I said dried pus. I'm sorry. And then your bite is the mechanism that lets a ship cut through or otherwise traverse the tangled waves of the Wildsea. So that can be your saw blades, your grapple hooks on your ship, whatever it may be. And then finally the engine, which is the motive force behind the ship's bite. So whatever is driving your ship across the sea. It can be, they do have sails, but they also have bioreactors and living engines and that kind of thing.
Louisiana swamp boat.
Yeah, you guys can go Louisiana swamp boat with it. And then there's the fittings. Once the design is covered, you can add more specialized options to your ship to form the fittings. Those are chases are all optional and can be motifs, additions, rooms, armaments, and outriders. Outriders are small vessels with limited range kind of thing. And then there's also the undercrew, which is also optional. You guys can use your stakes to get officers that are NPCs, gangs. So you can have like some rough boys, or a pack of semi-sentient animals that does your bidding. Whatever. That's the other one. Packs. Creatures trained to aid, defend, or otherwise benefit the ship. So those are all the things you're going to be spending your stakes on. And at the end of this, you're going to have several ratings for your ship. These are your ship stats, which I'm going to write down over here until I figure out how to like digitize this character sheet. But you're going to have armor, which is obviously how tough your ship is. Seals is how good your ship is at keeping the Wildsea out, so that things aren't, you're not getting like gassed and that kind of thing. Speed, obviously your speed. Size is how good your ship is at cutting through dense parts of the sea. Stealth, obviously, it's your stealth. And then tilt is a measure of maneuverability and how well your ship can tackle sharp dips and rises in the waves. It does come up when you're sliding across. I flipped the ship. I'm sorry. Well, I wasn't a navigator. I was a screw, and I drove the ship, and it went up upside down. So, just keep that in mind. Page 129 is an example ship. It's pretty cool. It looks like a saw. It looks like a big old saw with like a Hemi engine. The thing got a Hemi. So step one is going to be design. This is a conversation for everybody. So jump in with your 2 cents on this. Size. It's going to be an issue of space. The benefits of size are obvious mostly. But so it's going to be nano, small, standard, or large. Those are your ship's sizes. All of them only cost a single stake. So you're not going to be doing too much speed here. The benefit of nano, you get +1 stealth. Smalls, +1 speed. Standard, +1 armor. And then large is +1 armor, -1 stealth. They can hold different amounts of crew. You have a crew of 5 right off the bat. So standard is probably going to be your floor there because it's 5 to 10 people. But it can hold double that if necessary. But also you could have a smaller ship and just be very cramped. I believe some of you are sentient bug colonies. So I don't know if you really need a full room.
At least one of us is a sentient bug colony.
And then the other one's a ghost. I don't know. Maybe you probably, small is probably justified if you want. But you guys are a big enough crew for a standard ship.
I think we should be looking at standard or large, honestly. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I agree. Standard or large. I guess standard would be best for, the plucky freighter kind of thing, right? Mm. So part of me is tempted to do large and just have some, absurd treetop steampunk love boat action.
Yeah, I also think that having a large ship lends to a bunch of NPCs being on board.
Yeah.
Versus sort of like, it's either, our 2 feels here, either us out adventuring, crushing the waves, getting treasure, or it's like a floating town full of...
All right, yeah, I'm thinking large. My vote is for large.
I agree with Malcolm and Gary. I think a large ship also lends itself to the possibilities of course, getting more loot and shit, and also kidnapping motherfuckers. So, like, they want somewhere to put them.
Yeah, with your failing bondage telekinesis powers.
Kevin's like, which one can we Shanghai people with? That's the one that I want.
Yeah, Vampire Bite says, cargo space for looting.
Give me the big bomb.
Matt, you cool with a large ship, Matt?
Hell yeah.
All right. That's a good answer. So, you're starting off with +1 armor, -1 to stealth. So that's your floor. That's where we're starting. You guys picked out a frame. You guys picked out a frame at the store. Well, you're about to pick out a frame anyways. So frames. Beneath the weapons, fittings, and hull plating of every ship is a solid frame. The superstructure skeleton built to withstand the constant jostling. You picked how big you want it. Now you got to pick what it's made out of. And your options are sturdy. Built to last in place. A sturdy frame helps weather the strongest assaults. +1 armor. Molded. A single unbroken structure running through the ship. Quite a feat of safety-conscious engineering. That's going to give you seals. It's hard to get in. Light. It's going to make you a little faster because you're fiberglass or something. Scything is often wedge or blade-shaped. Scything frames are constructed specifically to cut. So, like, your ship itself helps you cut. +1 the saws. Sleek is going to be quiet. Quiet is hard to come by on the Wildsea, so sleek gives you a +1, just because it's made in such a way that minimizes noise. And then flexible. These are your caterpillar and snake boats that kind of, move around. They can kind of they're flexible. They can bend, which no other ship can bend. It gives you +1 to your tilt, which means you could probably go upside down a little safer. What do you guys think? What do you guys want your frame to look like here?
I've got a quick question, if you don't mind, about the previous section.
All the questions in the world that you want, Kevin.
Is it possible to have... I appreciate that, Jahan. Is it possible to have, like, nano-sized lifeboats on our large ship?
So that is a thing called Outriders, and that is one of the... what are they called? Fittings.
Okay, gotcha.
So you guys are going to be able to pick stuff later, like salvage cranes and kitchens and stuff like that. One of the things is Outriders, which is smaller vessels with limited range that can be launched from the main ship. So yes, it's very much a thing.
Sick.
Yeah, it is sick. This is not what I was expecting. I like what I'm seeing, though. It's pretty exciting.
So how are you guys feeling on frames? Does anybody have anything that sticks out to them?
This is mostly a cool factor for me, but scything and flexible, I think, a saw boat or snake boat, something like that, sounds sick. But that's just...
Those are both very cool.
Yeah, I think they're certainly scything and flexible. Flexible because it's dope. Scything because... it seems like it's a good way to maybe potentially collect resources in the form of scythed trees. But I also think there's something to be said about the sturdy frame that sort of capitalizes on the fact that we already have a large ship that has an armor bonus. And then
that's true.
Sturdy was actually going to be my pick, but I also I could concede scything also if that's something everybody wants to get in on.
This is a democracy.
Scything, I think.
Sturdier scything. So it sounds like we're pretty even on sturdy and scything. It sounds like both Matt and Kevin are like flexible scything, and then you guys are sturdy scything. It sounds like scything might be the consensus. If you guys are cool with that, or you can talk about it more.
I think it's 3 for sturdy, 4 for scything right now. Do you guys want to just re-vote on those two, or are we good with scything?
Yeah, let's re-vote on those two. I think that's a good idea.
Sturdy or scything?
I think that before we vote, it's important to note that we should have a little bit of an idea of what our goals are going to be in the future, because our ship should be well outfitted to do that, right? Like, are we going to get into a lot of shit? Probably. Do we need to be sturdy, or like, are we going to be traveling in some crazy ass zones trying to find some treasure and shit? You know
both things will definitely come up, for sure.
Yeah, we're always going to hit those undiscovered lands where it's going to be hard for us to trudge through, and there's always going to be something coming up from beneath to attack us.
Touché. And we already have an armor bonus from being a large ship, so maybe we don't.
In my mind, when I imagine armor, I know that seals is a choice also. So if we just keep picking armor and have no seals, it's really funny to me to imagine just this giant armored hunk of mass going across the treetops and all kinds of bullshit pouring in the sides. Like trees and frogs and bugs.
Bugs and stuff, yeah.
Like we're armored from the big stuff, but not from the forest itself.
You have these giant gaps in your plates. Yeah.
Like a sand crawler, like a Jawa sand crawler on the trees.
Kinda, yeah. But yeah, what? So which one do you guys want to go with, sturdy or scything?
I like sturdy.
All right, now you won me over to sturdy.
What about you, Kevin?
I mean, honestly, now I'm like, well, he's got a good point with molded with the seals, but
No, I
between
want to
those
not
two,
have the seals now. I want it to be just this ridiculous, like, I don't know, maybe
Right.
it was like a pre-apocalyptic, like, novelty floating hotel.
yeah, and I love the idea of it being like
Oh,
a
we're
town or
getting-
something. So I'm gonna go with sturdy. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Dude, same.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, you sold me on it.
+2 to
Two
so you have this
2,000.
large, sturdy ship. And so this is the part that I thought we were on, but this is the part that we're on now. Hulls.
This is where we start spending our own stakes, right?
No, you guys. So you guys have only spent 2 out of your collective 6.
Okay.
But if you guys do want one of the more expensive options, because this is the first time you guys have options that cost more than 1 stake.
Exactly.
So common hulls. These are what your ship is actually made of. That's what I thought frames were. I was
So
wrong.
we have 4 more team points right
4
now.
more
and
team
then
points.
How many personal points?
3 each.
3 each. Okay.
Which is a lot. You guys have a lot since you're a big crew. And also, don't forget, Misha is going to get to throw her 3 points wherever she wants. It sucks she got to miss this, because this is a fun part. But hey, who knows? Maybe your ship will get destroyed one day, and we'll make another one.
I'm pretty attracted to like Junk Strong because it fits the concept.
Junk Strong. Oh, there it is.
The unique hull, yeah.
Unique hulls, yeah. And it's also free. It is free. So let me run through them real quick. All right, Reef Iron. It's made from a special kind of iron that you guys find. It's rusted. It's shitty. It's Reef Iron. +1 armor. Leviathan Bone. It's made from the bones of Leviathan. Leviathans themselves are well sealed. They're buttoned up. You can't get inside them. Their bones make your ship have +1 seals. Broadwood. It gives you +1 tilt. Then there's a rough bark, which helps you blend in, I guess, because it gives you +1 stealth. You can have chitinous bug parts for +1 speed because they're slippery. They slide on around. Razor scale, +1 saws. You can just have like sharp scales coating your ship. Beast back. It's a half-living hull of flesh and bone, flexible and unsettlingly warm. +1 seals and +1 tilt. This one costs 2 stakes. All the rest of them cost 2 stakes at this point. Ceramic, you guys know what ceramics are. Armor and seals, you get +1. Chrysalid. It's adapted from a cast-off chrysalid of a massive insect. +1 seals, +1 stealth. Ghost oak. Pale as death, remarkably flexible. Ghost oak is rarely found growing outside the lightless depths. +1 armor, +1 tilt. Arachniseek.
Yes.
Less of a hull and more of a giant insect grown to fit the specifications of your frame, usually something spider-like. So, your ship is a bug in that case. You get +1 tilt, +1 stealth. Exile's copper. +1 armor, +1 speed. It is made out of rare metal. All of those are common hulls. Now, you guys are looking at some of the unique hulls. Fair enough. Junk Strong. It is made of junk. It is free. You will save stakes on this. There's a reason. +1 armor, -1 seals, just like you guys were talking about. Mark your seals or armor rating to pull a piece of useful salvage from the hull. So you guys, it gives you the ability to rip parts off your boat and use them for stuff. And then there's the Floral Flage, a hull of living vegetation. grown purposefully around your frame, bends easily to the seascape. This costs 2 stakes, plus 2 stealth, minus 1 armor. The floral ship at rest is almost impossible to detect. Increase impact when using stealth while motionless. Impact is how much you succeed by. So when you're not moving, people can't see you. It's pretty hard. And then the only 3 cost stake, Monument. An absurd affection in a world of flexible branches and endless depth. Monument hulls are made of appallingly heavy mountain stone. So this costs 3 stakes. It's the only one that does. Plus 2 armor, minus 2 seals. And the ship...
Plus 2.
Oh, plus 2. My bad.
That's why it's 3 stakes.
And a ship with monument hull can't forge ahead during a journey, which means that you can't, like, on delay. You know what I mean? You can't
Can't gun it.
You can't gun it. You can go, but you can't like suddenly go. You need, because you're made out of rocks. But yeah, what do you guys think? A lot of cool choices there. For those of you at home, I'll link it again. You guys can pre-order this at this website. You can also get the free PDF quick start, which we are currently using to make your own ship and adventure.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what does the chat think about all of these, especially the unique hulls. You know what I mean? It's weigh in, help us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm voting for like the pile of garbage that doesn't cost anything.
That's funny. I have no issue with that.
Or the monument. Although I didn't know it had to be stone specific. I was thinking like maybe we just pilot the Statue of Liberty around.
If you flavor it as
or we
you have like Mount Rushmore,
like a chunk of Ellis Island.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Around the giant trees.
An Easter Island head.
An Easter Island head.
Yeah, if you guys want to do that, that's if you guys want to have like old, like you're a super villain that stole all the world's landmarks, that's perfectly fine too.
Mount Rushmore.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I agree with Malcolm. I'm kind of torn between Junk Strong and Monument, just because Junk Strong seems really useful to be able to cannibalize your ship. And Monument obviously sort of supports our vision of a floating city, like a fortress in the sky. So it's a toss-up for me. That's a tough choice.
I think I would lean more toward Junk Strong just because there's so much we can do with it. And it kind of inherently sucks in some ways that will be interesting later.
Mm-hmm.
Those are on my list. I also added 2 other ones to my list, but yes, I had Junk Strong and Monument, actually. The other 2 I was interested in was sticking with our sort of armor motif, was Ghost Oak, which gives us armor and tilt, and then the Exile's Copper, which gives us armor and speed, if you guys are interested in that. But again, the other 2 are
Ghost Oak.
Yeah, Ghost Oak is pale as death and remarkably flexible. Ghost Oak is rarely found growing outside the lightless depths of the Down.
Could it be like the literal ghost of a ship?
Yeah, it could be definitely haunted wood from some sort of defunct. Yeah, it could be the old Jolly Roger.
It does say that this is the hulls are supposed to embody, like it's our cosmetics, right? It's our aesthetic. It's supposed to embody what we're about. So having a ghost ship, I mean, that's incredibly hard to pass on.
That's pretty good.
What do you think, Matt?
I might be leaning more towards Junk Strong.
Oh yeah, Junk Strong. Plus, I keep hearing it like Junk Strong, which makes it sound like some kind of Junk Strong.
That's
Junk Strong.
I think that's fair. We're at a 4 for Junk Strong.
That is it sounds like everyone agrees Junk Strong is strong. So is that what you guys are going with?
And it's free.
It is free. It does not. You guys save, which is incredible. You can put that towards a gun or something.
My artistic decisions are resembling my life decisions, so it's free. I'll take this crap. There we go.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's -1 to seals. There we go. Okay.
And then we can mark the seals to find shit in our hull, so we can make them even worse.
You can mark seals and absolutely.
Armor. Yeah, we can rip stuff off, which maybe if we have a good mechanic, maybe we can add some back on at the end of an adventure.
Yeah, you guys can hire people. There's a whole section coming up soon where you guys. So now, this is a particularly.
We've done fine with that ship full of holes. I don't see why we need to change anything for me.
We know how it works.
We know how it works.
You just have to know what not to fall through.
Watch your stuff.
So speaking of falling through, what would you be doing when you fall through? How would you be traversing the tops of these trees? The bite is a very important decision here. A very exciting decision. So you can have, for all of these, I think, are one stake? No, they continue on to the next page. So all the ones I'm about to read are a single stake. The saw prow. It's exactly what it sounds like. The prow of your ship is a saw. Vampire by Select Mount Rushmore. That's funny. It gives you +1 saws, and it can deal massive close quarters serrated damage. So it's a propulsion system that you can use to hurt stuff. But several of these are like that apparently. So impellers, large jet-like outboard engines that push the ship through the waves with brute force. +1 speed, deals massive blast damage. Crawler, large finger-like mechanisms spread out and around the front of the ship, allowing it to move through the waves like with a crawling motion. So that's +1 tilt, and then it can do blunt damage. Underscales, thousands of flexible scales that worm the ship forward with a sly, sinuous motion, +1 stealth, and you can do keen damage, which is like sharp damage, like a sword. Jag tracks. Oh wow, I heard myself on that one. Jag tracks, motorized grapple tracks along the keel and hull sides. A slow, solid, and reliable choice. +1 armor, deals massive heavy damage or hewing damage. And I think this is what we had on our ship. Sluice jets, pressurized slice systems filled with pyphobic chemicals. I'm not going to say that word again.
Phytophobic.
Yeah, there you go. Phytophobic chemicals for coating the hull and pushing the ship. So +1 to seals, and it does acid damage. All of those cost 1.
That's crazy, dude. They've got blunt damage and acid damage. Where are we, Colorado?
Nice.
Drugs. But yeah, so here are the ones that cost 2. Long Jaws. It's a chainsaw that runs across the entire bottom of your ship. And it's like, no, you get pulled across. +1 saws, +1 speed. It deals a lot of serrated damage. Propeller Cage. A cage-like housing that holds a large airboat-style propeller used to push the ship forward. +1 speed, +1 armor. Does blunt damage. Navipede limbs. Centipede limbs lining the hull. You scuttle across the trees. Pretty cool. +1 tilt, +1 stealth. Deals a lot of spike damage. Voltic runners. Crackling with barely contained lightning. These onboard contraptions let the ship float just above. So it's like the ships in the Matrix. It's like bzzz. +2 to seals, interestingly enough. I guess because you're not in direct contact with the
no, we
trees.
can't get that one.
Can't take that one. The mulcher. Grinding teeth in a lamprey style mouth. Terribly noisy, but dreadfully effective. +2 saws, +1 armor, -1 stealth. Deals damage. Serrated damage.
Like Beetlejuice.
Tentaculary. A living cluster of tendrils or tentacles attached to the ship's hull, carrying it. So it's like you're an octopus ship. +2 to tilt, and it deals salt damage, funny enough.
All right, the idea that we have a Cthulhu in the engine room that makes the ship go.
It's pretty
The stars
cool.
are right. Soon I'll rise for my. Yeah, all right, all right.
Yeah, the tentacles come out from all the holes in your ship. You can also have sails. And sails are sails are sails. They have square sails, which are basic sails, +1 speed. Only effective in favorable winds, though, obviously. Sleek sail, +1 stealth, only effective favorable winds. +1 for speed for sweat sails, only effective in warm weather. And tethered kites, +2 speed, only effective favorable winds. And then +1 speed, +1 armor for gecko sails, same thing, winds. Those are all, you can have those in addition to add speed to your ship. Or you can have them by themselves, but you are subjected to the same rules as regular sailors at that point. I don't think I've actually looked at these. Unique bites. These are less common. There's the Sharpened Prow. It's a honed blade running the length of the ship. It's also free. Provides a basic cutting edge, but no motive force. So you would need something that propels you, like a sail or something. Just about works when paired with oars, but you really should choose something better. So that ship's not going to go very fast. It doesn't even give you a bonus. Like, it's just the minimum to go. There's beast reins, an arrangement similar to the leash or yoke, allowing well-trained beasts to pull the ship.
So we can take more than one of these, you're saying?
You can take multiples if you wanted to. You can take sails.
Like beast reins combined with tentacular, because I really do like the idea of like, yeah, we just have a Cthulhu in the basement that pulls the ship.
It's pretty cool.
And sometimes you got to throw it a ham or a ham bug to get it to go faster. You yank on one of its tendrils to go in there, make it go in the right direction. It complains that it's going to drive us all insane.
It's also another cool. Those are cool, like storyline openings. Whenever we have a giant creature that we have to eat and feed and sleep, all the things we have to do for a creature.
Yeah, it does say some of that stuff. It
could leave. It could be stolen. There's a lot of cool storyline things that open.
Jimmy, do you know this guy? What, you think just because I'm a giant monster, I know every other giant monster?
His name's Henry, and he works here.
The last of the unique bites is the one I was really interested in.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Real quick though, so beast reins, one of the things that you got to pick the beasts, obviously, and if you do that one, you don't need an engine, which I thought was interesting because for obvious reasons. But then grappling array only costs 1 stake. It's not an expensive one. Prow-mounted grappling hooks that are fired out to catch on the branches, then laboriously wound back in for slow, inexorable progress. So you get +2 to tilt. You have a lot of control of how your ship's moving, but you're slower. You get -1 to speed, and a ship running solely on grappling array can't forge ahead. But you can deal massive spike damage, I presume, by shooting stuff with your grappling array. Those are your choices, guys.
The only reason I thought the grappling array seemed like fun is because we already can't forge ahead. Like, let's just double down then.
No, you can.
But
you guys picked.
Like the idea of a Cthulhu in the basement quite a bit more thematically.
Pretty cool.
Well, we can add grappling array to that as a thing that the Cthulhu in the basement does. Like, we can just blow like 4 things on this, and like we have it just in normal, like, pull us ahead mode, and then sometimes we got to take the reins to make it go faster, and then sometimes we have it extend its secondary tentacles, and then it complains that when the stars are right, it's just gonna mow us down.
The cool thing about the tentacular is that it's also tilt too. It's the same as a grappling array, so it does give you that same type of control without the negative speed.
Yeah, I definitely am interested in the salt damage. I like the tentacular eye, whatever. But honestly, the ones I'm looking at, which is probably not helpful, is the mulcher. The mulcher is
pretty
really effective.
Cool too.
And also the beast reins. I just feel like saving more points in the next section with engine. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at that yet, but I can guarantee that's probably helpful. Now they do require care and feeding and sleep, but being able to pick animals that are pulling a town across the canopy of trees, I just feel like that imagery is solid. So those are the kind of the two I'm looking at, but I definitely see the merit in the Tentaculari or
The
whatever.
Tentaculari are also alive, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we could do the Mulcher and Beast Reins too, and have a similar concept.
It's true.
Yeah, if you do,
And we get more bonuses. We get more bonuses from mulchers because we get the +2 saws, +1 armor, which then furthers our armor as it is. So like we'd be just this massive.
All right, well, I'm convinced.
Yeah,
Orchard.
I like the Mulcher. I'm totally down for Mulcher.
be aware if you do take something other than beast reins, you do need an engine to power it. But they do have some for one stake.
I think
We
we
have,
have
what,
some
4
of the
points left?
engines.
After this, you would have one left over. Yeah,
I think we should look at some of the engines before we decide if we're gonna do.
we can circle back. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we don't have to pick 2 bites right now. We could just pick one, and then come back and add a bite if we'd like.
The engines. Oh my god.
Matt, were any of those?
Oh yeah, Matt, you didn't say.
bites?
Yeah, so, I was even, like, I don't know, I'm kind of torn between Beast Reins and Grappling Array, but I gotta say, the Grappling Array is more, if I get to shoot a giant grappling hook at someone, that's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
We've lost him.
But I really think it would be awesome to have, like, an animal ship. They just sound.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm looking at the unique engines.
Yeah, the unique engines are bananas.
I think Tamed Hive combined with Mulcher would be really cool, because that could be that could represent just locusts eating the path ahead for us, right? And there could even be some association with your character, Garen. So
Yeah,
That's
sure.
exactly right.
if you're a bug guy, you could be the official union rep.
Yeah, but I gotta say though, there's something sort of attractive about Leviathan Heart. Requires no fuel, but in a particularly ominous way.
Right, I thought that was really good. That also fits our theme if we do the Tentaculari and then do a fucking beast where you don't have to have an engine, but we choose to add Leviathan Heart, just full into it, full dive in to the living monument.
Yeah, so your options, you can have the chemical compressor, which is a chemical engine. You can have a spring work, which is a clockwork heart. You can have a parasite pitcher, which is a pitcher plant that powers your ship. You can have steam power. You can have a rat wheel exchange, which there's a rat. There's a lot of rats that run on a wheel. Pretty funny. Pulsing cocoon. You don't know what's in there, but it powers your ship. There's the jaw box, which is a noisy wood-fueled engine. There's a solar compressor, which is solar power. Magnetic coils, which is what it sounds like. Ceramic batteries, so you have an electric ship. Acid maw. An open chemical vat. And then, obviously, the unique engines that you guys are talking about. There's the Tamed Hive, which is a buzzing organic engine of honeycomb and crawling workers. Their movement, a complex dance. It's pretty funny. It says fueled with stolen flowers and unprocessed pollen. So that's where some of those resources come into play. Reclaimed burner, an ancient burner that runs on processed chemical fuel salvaged from the innards of a pre-verdant ship. So that is literally an engine.
I love that one.
From our world.
Oh, -1 seals. That's definitely up our alley.
+3 speed is hilarious.
+3 speed, -1 seals is definitely. I'm thirsty on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Only because a floating town needs plumbing, and seals are bad for plumbing. We needed to exit our town.
It does run on literal gasoline, so you guys need gas. And it's liable to explode if seriously damaged.
It also says in the description block, "Don't use this."
You guys can do whatever you want. Then there's the rope golem. a semi-sentient mass of animated ropes running through the rooms and corridors of the ship. So it's a magical rope golem that just makes stuff happen.
Wait, but as the navigator post, I can control ropes and rigging. So would I be able to control the rope golem, even though it does its own thing? Like I could
Potentially, yeah.
use it as a companion, even though it's not?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, rope golems have an unpredictable will of their own that may manifest at unexpected moments. They take no fuel, but you have to replace the ropes when they begin to
Everybody on the ship has a safe word.
I like the reason I like this rope golem is just because we have the junk ship. So the junk ship being filled with a sentient rope that falls apart that we have to replace is pretty thematic too.
You guys have a lot of really good ideas. But now that's the last thing you have to have for your ship. Your ship is built after these two things.
Well, but just to circle back, did we pick Mulcher, or how many points do we have left here?
You guys have 4 points. You guys did not pick a bite yet, so it's still up to you. Now that you know what engines there are, it's entirely up to you. But anything other than beast reins will require an engine. I'm going to take off this beret.
Well,
it was squeezing my head.
What do you guys?
Well, basically, I guess it depends on what kind of concept we want overall for the propulsion, right? Like we've had we have the monster in the engine room idea. The animated rope stuff has a lot of fun potential. I like the insect swarm that makes the ship move and also powers the ship. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the concept, and we go with whatever follows the concept.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, what you guys feeling? You guys want? Sounds like you guys have a couple ideas here. Sounds like Mulcher and Hive might be a mix. Tentacularly and the Leviathan heart, perhaps. You could also somehow power the tentacles with a real life engine. I don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll figure it out. And then also there's beast reins where you guys are being dragged across by something. There's also grappling array. You didn't have combos of engines for those specifically. The beast reins don't require one. Yeah.
I would say that it's either the. I think we're pretty committed to having that heart, aren't we?
You guys like the heart?
We're talking about that as if it's basically what we're gonna do.
The heart's pretty cool. I like the rope golem as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm as much as, especially with the fact that I picked Navigator, like the rope golem is definitely appealing to me. However, and of course the Leviathan heart's cool. But I think the main two that I'm looking at would be the pulsing cocoon, because it would help create the aesthetic of, like, if we have the Mulcher or the Tentaculari, we would have this, like, house of horrors, because it says it's fueled with the dreams of the crew, and that's just super sick. Also, with the fact that I've got a Mothrin, and Misha potentially is considering a Mothrin, I think Jahan said earlier.
Yeah.
Tamed Hive is pretty interesting to me as well. I think that it's fueled with stolen flowers and unprocessed pollen, and I think that between a couple of Mothrin, we'd have plenty of that. So, I think, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of looking more at Tamed Hive and Pulsing Cocoon, both the bug shit.
Well,
but obviously, Rope Golem and Leviathan Heart are on the menu. So,
I like Pulsing Cocoon. It has armor +1. You'll get no argument from me.
Okay, well, let's go with that then.
And it's cheap. What do you think, Matt?
I'm into it being powered by dreams.
And I think so with that means we don't necessarily need beast reins. We can buy it for one stake, but we do need to have a bite.
Yes.
So do we want the Mulcher or the Tentaculari?
I would say the Mulcher goes better with the cocoon, because it seems
Mulcher, yeah.
Everybody's nodding, so yeah, I'm in. Yeah, we get more armor again. No argument out of me.
So the cool part about the cocoon is you guys really don't need to fuel it. You just need to sleep. It's
Well, and the difference in the Mulcher and the Tentaculara in terms of the damage that they do personally, I like the fact that they both do massive damage, first of all, which is appealing. But they're both close quarters as well. But serrated damage, like a serrated blade spinning fast, will fuck anything up. You know what I mean? Salt damage, I'm not really sure what that is. It sounds really
salt
niche,
damage
really
will damage, I think,
For
like
the vines.
metal stuff, and potentially plants.
Yeah, you can use it to fight back the vines. They do like acid damage, and the salt fights them back.
Interesting. I mean, I feel like serrated damage would also help take care of some plants.
Mulcher's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But it also gives us a -1 stealth bonus, which I believe we've already suffered.
Yeah.
Wow. Things so they know they're coming.
So you guys are going. What about you, Matt? You think Mulcher's the way to go? You have another idea?
Yeah, no, I think Mulcher's great.
That's awesome. So is that a consensus then?
I believe so.
Yay! All right, cool. So
with the cocoon thingy too, right?
What's that?
With that cocoon thingy? What was it
With
called?
the cocoon thing. So you guys actually are going to have one. You have the pulsing cocoon engine. You have the Mulcher. The Mulcher is going to give you +2 saws, +1 armor. Jesus. Your guys' armor is fucking 5. Your stealth is -2, which is, it's fine. It'll be fine. Your ship's pretty cool. So yeah, and then you have the pulsing cocoon.
You'll have a left, right?
You guys have a collective point left, but there's more stuff to spend it on. Here are the optional things. All right, this is how you finalize your ship here. This is how you add flavor to it, and some functionality, motifs, additions, and motifs, outriders, and something else. Damn it, I'm reading the wrong thing. But yeah, there's several categories here that you can spend points on, and we'll get into it. These are fittings. The first one's motifs. Motif is a fitting choice that affects your entire vessel. Choosing motif allows you to theme your ship towards a certain activity, such as salvaging or exploring. Mechanically, a motif doesn't just give you a set of useful equipment and oddities to add to your ship. It also affects how others perceive you. So this is optional. You don't have to take this, but it is transport, hauling, hunting, salvaging, pathfinding, raiding, rescue, research, and entertainment. You can choose one of those if you want to, and it'll give you a whole suite of things. Which we can get into. But before you spend all your points on that, because you each have 3, and you have 1 collective point to spend. These are additions. So general additions, you have anchors, which is actually free. You can just take an anchor if you want. Rig ropes. So there's just rope rigging going up the thing. So, during those scenes in like pirate movies where you're climbing stuff, that's what you're doing. Firefly lanterns, exactly what they sound like. Luminous blooms, which are patches of moss and flowering plants that shed pale light in the dark hours. Chemical spotlight, it's a spotlight. It's exactly what it sounds like. Survival station contains flares, flags, grapples, wraps, and emergency rations. Cargo crane is a crane for cargo. A wrecker's magnet is a crane for metal salvage. Signal flares, shutter lamps, steam whistles. Vox horn is a deep blaring horn that can also be used as a voice amplifier. So you guys can have a battle cry if you want. Some of these things don't have like an obvious mechanical benefit, but when you're thinking about like, we're going to starve to death, I wish we had the survival station, like that kind of thing. Tethered kite sail. It's a kite that flies. I think you can climb up on it. It's like a crow's nest that's a kite. Trained messengers are flying creatures trained to seek out distant landmasses or nearby ships, delivering messages. Those cost 2 stakes. Fixed band radio. It's a radio. Bounteous additions. A fruiting tree. So you have a tree that actually grows food for you. You can have a night farm, which grows mushrooms. Lightning rod can draw electrical energy from lightning. Water purifier. Purifies water, you know. These ones are pretty self-explanatory. And then trawler nets. Are nets meant to be draped over the side of the ship during relaxed journeys, catching larger insects and small mammals before they are hauled back in. So it's a fishing net. You can also add rooms. These things you don't have to agree on. If you're spending your 3 points, you don't have to ask anyone's permission. Feel free. But you can. You can also, you know, maybe talk about stuff if you guys have a certain thing you want to pool points for or something. But yeah, so there's common rooms: galley, medical bay, workshop, navigational suite, butchery, tap room, which is beer, panic room, cooling facility, luxury quarters, lens room, brig, cargo bay, extension, and under deck gymnasium. All of those cost 1 each.
I am getting a medical bay and a tap room.
You guys officially have a med bay and a tap room. That's it. That's all it took.
I use my points on it.
Yeah. So you still have 1 point left.
Panic room's pretty cool.
I vote that Malcolm doesn't need to spend 2 of his points. I'll give up 1 of the team points for the medical bay. That's going to be used for all of us when we're stabbed.
Is everybody okay giving up the last team point for that? Everyone's cool? All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good call. But there's also the external structures, I feel like, deserve some attention.
Yeah, external structures built onto the deck, which have a cool aesthetic, or onto the stem. They're built outside the ship. There's a lounger's tent, which is a rest area on the deck of the ship, the canvas providing shade and a break from the wind. That's very much a comfort thing. Observation platform is a crow's nest, essentially, but you can put it like anywhere and like make it look like what you want. An under thrash platform is more or less what it sounds like. It's a trapdoor platform so that you can hang out underneath the ship and like mess with stuff going on down there. And then a cupola.
A couple of what?
France, whatever. It makes movies. A blister of glass or amber, usually at the side or rear of the ship, with a small seat inside. So it's like a blimp gondola, but you can put it anywhere. It's like an observation room, kind of. It's a glass enclosure that you can hang out in and like study stuff through.
It doesn't sound good.
Those are all of those are options for you. And then these are all optional as well. Armaments. Which are deck weapons, hull weapons, and boarding equipment. Trebuchet, harpoon turret, shrapnel cannon, viper's tooth, which is a tooth of an animal that shoots acid, grand blast bow, which is a crossbow that shoots fiery explosive bolts, and a storm rail, which is 2 huge brass rods that shoot lightning. So, then there's hull weapons. There's winch claws. A bank of short-range grappling claws on the side of your ship, used to draw enemy vessels close. Broadside cannons, just like a real ship. Ramming prow for ramming. Spearing prow for spearing. Bladed prow for blading, and ripsaw prow for ripping. And then there's boarding equipment. You can have the limited armory rack. When leaving or defending the ship, crew members can take temporary pieces of gear. So essentially, if you have crew, they can arm themselves. And then a wrecker's armory rack. A rack stocked with less straightforward weapons. And then here's a cool one. Outriders. You were asking about this earlier, Kevin. So Outriders are single-seater crafts made for cutting across the waves for short distances. There's some rules for like launching and docking kind of thing. But so you're going to pick a chassis. So you're actually going to build like a little thing here. Yeah. So how do you dock?
My phone's going to die. I'm going to grab a charging cable. 2 seconds.
Yeah, be right back, man. It's no big deal. But yeah, Outriders are pretty cool. It's like a whole mini ship creation that you guys can look at there. Man, making ships is fun. How you guys liking it?
Yeah, this is cool.
Awesome.
Hi, Dirty Were-Rats.
Hey, Were-Rats.
Were-Rats is one of our first fans ever.
Were-Rats is one of my oldest friends.
Well, I'm going to get luxury accommodations for everybody.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Luxury accommodations in the junk ship.
Yep.
So you're going to spend your last points on luxury accommodations?
Well, that's 1 point, because
1
that
point.
does it for everybody. And that leaves me with 1 point since the...
Oh, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, luxury quarters. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
And
have a
that's
nice
just
ship.
Because my character would probably just clean everybody's room.
Malcolm, I'm going to spin 2 also, and I suggest that later on we combine our 2 to get something awesome, because some of the 1-track stuff is fine, but the 2-track stuff later down is a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Jahan, I'm going to spend my 2 on the pathfinding motif.
Absolutely.
So that gives us just various things, are trinkets and gewgaws from various contacted cultures are affixed all over our hull, which I think fits our motif, right? A reinforced engine room with a secondary set of seals and bulkheads protecting our engine. That way we don't get totally crapped on for having no seals. And then finally, it's an array of wild clearing tools, allowing crew fighting on our lower decks access to easy hewing or serrated damage.
Okay.
So it lets us get in and underneath other ships to cut them down from our lower decks.
Absolutely. Oh, very cool. That means that pretty much anytime you guys are like, hey, I need a cutting weapon, I'll be like, yep.
So for now, we are a giant pathfinding ship.
Like a town.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Outriders are what Kevin was asking about. You pick a chassis and fittings and small additions to improve it. You have to pick how you launch and dock. There are several methods. You can do tow lines, you can do docking cranes, wild bay doors, and hull clamps. So like things can like clamp onto the side of the ship, they can fly into the ship, they can be pulled on top of the ship, all that good stuff. Or they can be dragged behind the ship. Those are the options.
I would suggest a tow line because we have a character who can manipulate rope.
Oh yeah, potentially.
I mean, I think we should get the tow line and the anchor simply because they're free. There's no reason not to have them as a backup or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I agreed, I can manipulate the tow line to a certain extent.
So yeah, you can pick Outrider. Do you want an Outrider? Which is just a small vessel that you can take out.
Who, me?
Anybody. Because it costs a little bit to make. You have to pick 2 things. You have to pick the chassis and the fittings. Chassis, workhorse, 1 stake. It has base stats. Actually, I think you only have to pick the chassis. I think the fittings are optional.
Do you want to cool our points maybe for a cool Outrider?
You guys can. And then there's also, so the very last thing that you'll have an opportunity to spend points on, I believe. Let me see. Yep. Our undercrew. So this is how you actually fill out your crew. You can have officers, which cost points. They come with a whole slew of things. They'll have so you can have a skillful officer for 1 stake that'll have 3 track of his own. 2 ranks in any skill, 1 rank in any other skill. You can have a well-traveled officer. You can have an experienced officer, and then you can also have gangs. So you can have whole gangs of people that will be multiple people.
So Malcolm, this is where I wanted to pull up our points. I'm interested.
Okay, yeah, let's get a gang of folks then.
I'm interested in the stargazers here.
Interesting.
All right, yeah. All right, I will pitch in with you for the stargazers.
Thank
And
you.
that's all my points.
So we definitely need an anchor then for that.
Anchors are free also.
Anchors are free.
Yeah, we might as well grab it.
So you guys have an anchor.
And the tow line.
And the tow line, yeah.
So I haven't spent any yet. I'd like to go under general editions. I'd like to spend one of my points on big ropes for obvious reasons.
Stargazers, and then you said big ropes.
Yeah, it's under general editions. It's like one of the first fittings I think that you come across. It's like one stake, and it just adds like ropes
rig
for climbing.
ropes.
Oh, rig. Sorry, yeah, rig ropes. My bad.
It's all good. Yeah. I mean, so what happens there is like if I accidentally flip the ship upside down, which I would never do, and you guys are like, I don't want to fall. Well, you got rig ropes. You might be able to not fall. So, boom.
And we could do laundry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sure.
And I can make them kill people.
So that's one of your 3 points.
Because, our ship is populated with people who just hang around and bullshit all day.
I love, there really probably is more laundry on those rig ropes than there is any actual purpose for them.
Yeah, you guys have a gang of stargazers now. Automatically acquire 1 normal whisper when you drop anchor. That's what they do. They hear stuff, and they whisper stuff. So that's that. There's also spearfishers, who hunt with spears, magnet fishers, cartographers, deck engineers, bone saw troop, tinker troop, scholars, marauders, and picaros, which are adventurous slingers armed with crossbows and pistols and blunderbusses. So those are the other gangs you have to choose from. So that's it. That's all you can spend your points on. Kevin, you got 2.
The next section is they've got something called packs that are optional.
Yes,
so I was looking at one that really cracked me up. The spider colony says once a Celicrae, now barely holding it together. I kind of love that. It doesn't really do anything, just like the dragon tail butterflies.
It'll do something.
You can spend money on it, and I love that aspect because in terms of role playing, I feel like it's going to play.
Do you want a spider colony?
I do not.
Okay.
If anything, as a Mothran, I'd probably get the dragon tail butterflies.
But that is a good point. I did miss that. There are beast packs that you could take, which include a lemur pack, spring foxes, a stretch of slinks, which are semi-spectral cats, a brace of hounds, which are hounds. There's ferrets, bats, parrots, but they're not just any parrots, they're frenzy parrots. Trained pinwolves, which are wolves that can shoot, I think they can shoot spikes off their body. They might not be able to shoot them. I don't know. Squirrel flingers. They're literally squirrels that have slings. And there's insect packs, dragonflies, spider colonies, glass shell snails, scorpion sets, medical mosquitoes, glowbug parade, library boatmen, Etrixcu, which are lurking centipedes that prefer darker places, listening to secrets, and fragments of lore. They also give you whispers at dock. That's funny. Rust roaches, and mantis sentries. So now I've officially listed everything you spend your points on. Kevin?
Not technically. There's the coolest thing on the list, Geist Octopus. It's 3 stakes. It says once per journey.
Oh, I see that.
It allows a single crew member to roll a 6d6. 6 fucking d6 in place of their usual die pool on any task that it could conceivably help with.
I
am down to donate to this.
So Kevin, I believe you have 1 left, right?
2.
I
only got the rig ropes.
You only got the rig ropes. That's right. So you have 2.
Matt, right? No, I just can't open this jar, man.
Matt, you have 3 left. What do you guys want? You guys don't have a weapon yet, and yeah, I think that's the only thing you're missing. But you technically don't need a weapon. But
you wanna do you wanna go in on this this octopus, Kevin?
Kind of do, yeah.
Who's spending what?
I'll spend both of mine because you haven't made any other selections, so I'll drop 2 on it.
You would both have to spend everything.
No, Matt has 3.
Yeah,
but the octopus is probably the captain, but it's so
coffee.
alien in consciousness, nobody can understand it, so we just kind of do whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's sort of
like a-
6d6, like in terms of like we want to kill a boss, we want to escape something, we want to climb a mountain. Like
Yeah.
that is octopus is our god. It's our god.
A little bit of everything in one
Imagining
cool
it,
cephalo
proud with a
package.
fancy hat, making incomprehensible gestures.
So that's yeah, that's almost it. Matt, you got 2 points. Where you want them?
John, how is
I'm thinking it would be cool to shoot people with lightning, so I'm going with the storm rail.
Fuck yeah. Oh boy. Let me see. Where's the storm rail? I'm gonna go look at it. There it is. That's both your points.
Hell yeah.
What were you asking, Gary? Sorry.
I was going to ask about that Geist octopus again on page 149.
Yeah.
So the description's pretty easy to understand. You can roll 66 in place of a usual die once per journey. Why is it a 5-track though if it can only be used once per journey?
Because it can
What
be
else
used
would
up.
What else would you mark that track for, and when does that recover?
You could mark it if someone got on your boat and kicked your octopus. There's actually a picture of the Geist octopus on page 148, in case you didn't know.
I've got a question for when this is resolved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, the track can be replenished. There are ways to replenish tracks, which we'll fully dive into next time. But it's not like it's going to go away once you spend them all. Unless, like, I kill your octopus somehow. But I'm not going to try to. So, it's kind of a dick move on my part. Does that answer your question, more or less? Like, it pretty much is an asset, just like all your other ones.
It's weird to me because, like, we could use the medical mosquitoes. They're a 3-track, and we could use them 3 times in a session to give ourselves the blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But you can't use the Geist octopus 5 times in a session.
Well, it says once per journey.
Why wouldn't it just be like a 1-track?
You could take more than one journey in a session. In theory.
Okay.
If it was like super uneventful, you know what I mean? You could like make it to a destination. You could go to another destination.
Yeah, I think that kind of answers what I'm asking, because it seems like in the description that it should be a 1-track, and I guess I'm kind of confused why it's a 5 and it reads like a 1. But
Yeah.
you're right.
That sort of ties into my question as well, because I sort of feel like they put it as a 5-track. The way I interpret this is that we can use this in varying degrees of severity, no? So like we could spend 3 out of 5 track points to really F some S up. You know what I mean?
There is an argument to be made. This game is meant to be flexible, where I could be like, hey, you want to spend more on your track, maybe to F some S up, you know?
Yeah, what if I drop 5 of the tracks? Can I roll 30d6 to kill the firefly?
I don't know if I would particularly allow it, but I might allow it, depending on the situation and how deadly the octopus could be in that situation.
Just curious. Matters.
I'm still arguing for the concept that he's the captain and we don't understand him.
That's fine.
The octopus is the captain, and we just do our best.
No one else wanted to be the captain. I'm
the navigator, so I just sort of like loosely interpret whatever he says and just do whatever the fuck I want.
No, you guys had like a competition. First person to ring the bell gets to be
Tentacles are pointing
captain.
that way.
And then
I love the
out of
idea
nowhere, the octopus is like, ding! And you guys are like, fuck!
We're on this city-sized mountain ship steered by an ancient octopus that is obviously going somewhere, and we're just along for the ride.
Yeah. And it just picks up a cast of really chatty bohemians.
But so
I love him as the captain, Malcolm. I think that's
pretty
great.
funny.
Can you put indie music in the playlist, like shit from Garden State, Jahan?
No, because that's illegal. But we can imagine it.
We can all sing it. We'll do an acapella.
We can only sing a little bit of it before we get in trouble. We can
It's
sing
not really
like
an acapella.
We won't sing it well.
Let's do a Geist octopella.
But yeah, so that was it. That was the character creation, the ship creation. I feel like you guys pretty much more or less have what you need. Anything you're gonna finish for like picking all of your like traits and your skills and your aspects. Those are all things you can kind of, I feel, handle on your own now. What did you guys think? Did you guys like it? You like where you wound it up?
I really like how this is weird without being dumb.
Somehow it is weird
like,
without being
I think
dumb.
it's probably because it has like some strong central premises, and you have to always go back to like, well, this is about being in this world on this ship, right?
Yeah.
And because you find like it makes it a lot different from like a D&D game where just everybody picks dumb names and crap, right? Like, and I'm really impressed with its ability to get weird but maintain a structure. It reminds me of actually like the kind of thing I wanted to accomplish with a lot of microscope games that I've played that haven't quite gelled. If you ever done that one, the kind of world story building game,
A little bit, yeah.
Sometimes you kind of end up with kind of a mess of pottage, so to speak.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of
Microscope
stuff
is
that
a lot
really
of
hang
fun.
together.
One of the worst things I feel about Microscope is since you're playing with other people, some people have some ideas that can really get the story off track, but it is a game for everybody, and so you could have imagined 3 or 4 different story outcomes or different scenes you would have liked to see play out, and someone else's interpretation of the story can permanently change that. And
that's the thing, right? And I think that's one of the things where if I were to go in and monkey with Microscope, because let's just have an aside about a completely different obscure game.
Oh yeah, that's what we do on this channel.
Like I would definitely put like theme and conflict building tools right at the top, so that there's kind of a thesis that everybody's operating under. Because I do find you got it on the nose, right? Like generally people go in, and sometimes like a couple of rounds in, there will be this assumption that somebody had that just kind of, you weren't even thinking that way. But of course you want to make sure they're included, but it's still kind of a mess, right?
Yes.
And I find having, we have the big decisions about what the world is and what we do taken care of, and that just creates tremendous freedom to go fill in the rest. But we have structure too, right? Like we have stuff to rip off.
Yeah.
Instead of a kind of whatever kind of thing. And I really like all those elements.
We used Microscope to workshop a script, and so what we did was put one person in charge of sort of yay or naying the ideas. So that way we were able to kind of stay with one central theme and one central focus, and it was someone who was trying to write a show with a lot of different scenes, and we were like, okay, well, you be the head writer, the yes or no guy, and we'll just microscope scenes, and let us know if you like it or scratch it, no feelings hurt. And so that was a way for us to approach it.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Does resemble index carding for screenwriting a lot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to see what this like weird ass ship is going.
Yeah, no, it is
Right?
it's gonna go to some interesting places for sure. A lot. I like this game in part because it's pretty easy for me. I kind of have some things I have planned, but like a lot of it's your rolls are gonna make weird stuff happen. It's kind of like a write as you go almost. And like with the charts and the whispers, you guys can almost write your own ticket when it comes to like quests and stuff like that. So now I'm very excited for this game. I hope you guys liked it. I feel like that's all the time we have for tonight. And so tune in next Thursday, 8 Central Standard Time to 11. Same time, same place. Fresh out the box, that's us. I have been the Game Master, Johananon, at RockFact on Twitter, at Johananon1 on TikTok.
It's me, Casualty CDG, and you can find me at Casualty CDG on all the social medias. You can find Jahan and I every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. on twitch.tv/Johananon. Also, Fresh Out the Box has a YouTube. We have a Facebook. We have all the things. There's also a podcast called Fresh Out the Podcast, where we talk about movies, we talk about games, we talk about board games coming out, streaming shows. Hell, we were talking about Peacemaker.
We just got raided by DFoob with 34 people.
Yeah, and a great time to raid right at our outro.
Yeah, we're doing our outro, but hey, thank you so much. People are giving me farts.
Lucky.
Everyone in the chat's giving farts for Jahan. Thank you so much. I sent DFoob a Christmas card. It had a fart enclosed. So now this is my revenge. Thank you very much for bringing it back. And thanks for, holy crap, all the follows. Wow, we really appreciate it. Thanks for the raid, DFoob. You're the best. And so we were playing Wildsea. Real quick, I'll just, you can follow.
Everybody delete your character sheets. Let's start over.
Yeah, we're going to start over. It's what the people want. Here, you can follow this link to look at it on BackerKit if you want to pre-order this ttrpg about life on the high treetops sea of this post-apocalyptic, post-human world full of strange creatures. We're just talking about how great this game is, how Malcolm was saying that it is so weird without being stupid. It's a very fun game. Definitely check it out. Thank you so much for the raid. But yeah, I've been jotted on. Sorry, Gary, go ahead.
No, just fresh out the podcast is what I was saying. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We've got a podcast. We talk about movies and games and streaming shows and streaming content and all sorts of other nerd things. Like the other day, we had to do an emergency episode about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard that required our full-time attention. So if you want to hear that kind of stuff, please come look up Fresh Out the Podcast. There's a new episode every single Sunday.
That's a pace. That's a working pace. Wow.
Yeah, we're doing 3 episodes of this every week and a podcast every week. We're trying to work, man. We're trying to get that stream love. Take it away, Malcolm. Let everybody know about all the things that you're doing.
I am Malcolm Shepard, and thank you for being here, and I look forward to serving under my incomprehensible octopus captain. And you can find me mostly working for Green Ronin Publishing. Yeah, I guess check out the Cthulhu Awakens Kickstarter when it starts up next month. That's the big thing I'm working on.
So excited for that, actually. We will be covering that on the channel at some point. Definitely follow if you want some of that hot, fresh Cthulhu action.
And hey, folks, I'm Matt Murphy, theatrical designer and technical director out of Houston, Texas. But you can find me here next week, same time, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m.
It's been a pleasure once again, everybody. My name is Kevin. I am also a lighting designer, scenic designer, Texas, Houston, technical director, do all the things. I'll be working my butt off till next time. So yeah, you can't find me nowhere. I'm a ghost. I'm not on social media. I'm a weird old person that lives in a hole. So catch me here next week because it's one of the only places that I go to. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm really excited about Wildsea and all of the opportunities that may present themselves through this wacky crew of members, and soon to get wackier with the addition of Misha, who was not able to join us tonight. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thanks for the raid. We really appreciate it. And everybody, have a great night. Thank you, DFoob's channel.